after that, we pretty much have caught up on the checkpoint. So we're going to go on and move it on over to the patch notes. Take it away.
Patch notes.
Take it away, whoever's in charge of the patch notes this week.
I am. Hello, I am Kestrel1A, and this is the news for the week of May 9th. Our first article comes from Scott at Xbox Insider, introducing party chat speech transcription and synthesis. So Xbox is once again showing why they are the leading push in the accessibility field right now with their latest update to Xbox Insiders. They currently have transcription for in-game player speech to text, but the new update adds speech-to-text transcription and synthesis of speech-to-text to Xbox parties themselves. So now everybody has party chat for the most part. Sly, I actually have some questions for you because this is something. This is definitely in your ballpark. Will you be using this feature, and does this make you think that you're going to want to play more like multiplayer titles with friends on Xbox Live or anything like that?
It's complicated for me. Specifically, I don't play many multiplayer titles just because most of those games in general aren't super accessible, and if I'm playing a game, I don't want to play something that's going to make me frustrated. While it's really great that they're doing this for party chat, it relies on, being verbal, which outside of this podcast, honestly, I am using ASL almost 100% of the time. I'm not often speaking. I would rather have, a video chat option, which I usually do. But this option is super awesome, super great for people who were looking for it. The one concern I have about it is I didn't see any options for changing the size of the text for the transcription, which is a problem for deafblind or low vision folks. So I would love to see that from them. But I can't complain. Xbox is always doing the absolute most in terms of accessibility. They're definitely leading the charge by leaps and bounds. So this is an awesome addition. I hope to see more from it, and I hope to see them improve it.
Yeah, and then last question for you. How does this push from Microsoft make you feel about the state of accessibility in games at the moment compared to Sony and Nintendo?
Nintendo is absolutely not accessible ever, pretty much, for most people who consider themselves disabled. So, anything is better than nothing. Nintendo does the absolute bare minimum to not get sued. Sony, it depends on what studios you're looking at. Some studios do a really great job, some don't, but Sony on average doesn't tend to be the most accessible. It's usually seen as an after sight, but Microsoft has really committed to, having a whole department to dedicate to accessibility, improving their platform, improving their games. And it's just another in a long line of signs of good faith from Microsoft.
That's good. Does anybody else have any kind of thoughts on the topic?
Other than, this is something I think that is important, and that is a step forward in terms of hopefully the others will listen. Now, in terms of Nintendo, it sounds like they're moving on to possibly with this next Switch to be seemingly more Western focused. And if this is something that an issue that we are focusing on, as part of a country and the world, hopefully they will start listening. But we don't know. Sony as well also needs to probably step on the balls when it comes to that specific thing that needs to be done. But I'm just happy that Microsoft continues to just nail it out of the park with both the controller, the different functions, and the features that they offer. I also love their collaboration with Steve Saylor, a buddy of mine, Blind Gamer, who hopefully, I don't know, because I don't know directly if he has any words of putting some wisdom to them about this, but I assume there is a reason why they're collaborating. So I'm hoping.
Yeah, I would imagine they at least consulted for certain feedback and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Harv?
I mean, this is what we've seen from Microsoft lately is like they're more on the accessibility side and being more inclusive with everybody that plays games, which is awesome. When it comes to all the other companies, PlayStation, I feel like PlayStation as a company isn't doing the greatest job, but PlayStation Studios is doing a decent job when it comes to, like The Last of Us and with their first party. But like obviously not doing as much as Microsoft. Nintendo, like Sly said, Nintendo's doing the bare minimum just to get by at this point when it comes to accessibility, which is not great at all.
I want to also shout out on the Sony side. I mean, Last of Us 2 gets all the nods for, being so revolutionary. And they did do a lot of great things and they implemented a lot of great features. But Insomniac has been pretty great with accessibility from what I've seen for a long time. And they really deserve some, praise headed their way because they have been pretty great with accessibility for a long time.
Yeah. No, it's good to see companies doing it, like studios doing it. More studios than actual companies, right? But like I'm not surprised at what Microsoft's doing when it comes to this because they've been so vocal about it because like they want games for everybody, which is awesome. And I just hope the other companies they look at that and they're like, all right, we let's at least do more than the bare minimum for people, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like it's a weird approach from like someone like Sony, because I feel like Sony's taken the backseat approach, which is like, okay, we'll leave it up to our studios to decide whether they want to add those features or not, and then Microsoft's just like, yeah, we're gonna have standards for like if like our console's gonna do this and our games are also gonna have this. Kind of weird seeing Nintendo not do anything, seeing how they still, even though people don't think so, they still somewhat have a pulse on the Western market. We do impact a lot of what they do as well. So
I like the thing is like I'm not surprised by it. Like I'm not
surprised by it either, because it takes them a long time to get that idea back. It takes almost a whole generation for them to go, okay, what did we miss last generation so we can add it to this generation, kind of.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. I just Nintendo's always been doing things their own way when it comes to console cycles and stuff like that, and with their companies. And like you would think that because everybody else is pushing for more accessibility now, like Microsoft, they would like look at that and be like, okay, how can we do this for our company, for our games? But like they don't like if you go into any Nintendo game, there is no accessibility option at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's no actual menu for accessibility unless I'm missing something.
They have subtitles. They do not have captions on most of their games, which is a really important distinction for someone like me.
Yeah. No, I feel like subtitles are just they're always going to be in games no matter what, but captions are completely different, right? So like when you go into like Mario Kart, for example, or Mario Odyssey, Zelda, or anything, I don't think there's any menu called accessibility in there, like at all.
Not that
like even if you're colorblind, I don't think they have a colorblind mode for any of their games either.
Not that I remember. I don't play a lot of Nintendo games, to be honest.
Yeah. So like
the only thing I can think of is on the system there might be an inverted color thing, but other than that, that's all I know. And the only other time I've ever seen it also is in indie games like Celeste. That's it. That's all I've seen on a Nintendo platform.
But the thing is, Celeste is a third-party thing, right?
Of course, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's literally it.
Yeah.
That's the only time I've seen it is in a third-party like indie game.
Yeah, I'm more talking about like first-party games, right?
Of course, yeah. That's their downfall for me.
It makes me wonder, and I haven't really looked into this yet. I wonder how much like the accessibility field has hit Japan. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't seem like it's much. Like, it's a topic here a lot, obviously now, because everybody's kind of moving towards like Microsoft doing this, obviously, and like other companies like Insomniac showing off stuff like in Ratchet and Clank and everything. But like, I wonder how that same push is being done in Japan right now.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the focus on like the culture of Japan of like how this is being addressed and like how everything where else it's being addressed. So
Love to chat with some disabled folks from Japan. That would be a great conversation.
for sure.
Because I'm not too sure. I don't have that experience living here.
Fee, do you got anything?
I think this is definitely going to be like this is a step in the right direction, and like what you guys have been talking about, I hope that Nintendo starts moving towards things when it comes to accessibility. It'd probably be a good thing for us to like look into as well, just because it is a platform that I know we don't talk about regularly, and honestly, it's interesting to see that we're seeing such a push with Sony and with Microsoft. I know Sony hasn't done this like they're at different specific league points, but they are leaps and bounds above what Nintendo's currently at this time. And seeing the subtitles options coming up, that's awesome. And not subtitles, my apologies. Talk to text is definitely a good start. Hopefully it's a little bit better than some other voice to text because there are some really not so great options. And also curious to see, did they mention like what languages they supported, or was it just a matter of that they're integrating this?
When I read the article, I didn't see any mention of language, but I would imagine they probably have a few languages available. But then again, keep in mind this is like in the insider program, so it's not a fully launched thing. It's still technically a beta test for the most part.
Yeah.
At least that's what I would imagine the insider program is. It's more of like, here's a preview of a thing. You're going to beta test it for us, and then we're going to launch it eventually later on, fully supported.
Yeah.
I just wasn't sure if they suggested it or they mentioned it at all.
I don't remember them mentioning in the article specifically what languages will be supported, but hopefully when they're releasing that to the general public, they'll have more details on which languages are supported.
And you would think that they have, I think I learned, it was APK, Harv is what you were teaching me last week, where it's like software that they might have already built is now implemented somewhere else.
SDK. They're SDK.
SDK. So maybe they already have the software built, and this is just another implementation of it into some other software.
No, I'm just curious because at least in my day job, we have a...
Sorry, it was API. 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 SDK is something else in programming. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. I just wasn't like I was concerned that I said something. So no, I deal with it on a regular, like not specifically like talk to. Well, I mean, I do because I work with cellular phones, but also just like in our chat integration, we have options for like instant, like changing from like one language to another. So who knows what specifically happens? It's obviously a different thing because we just specifically use text, but I know having those options there would definitely open it to more people as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, on that note, guys, we're going to move on to our next article. And this article comes from Video Game Chronicles, Tom Ivan. Ubisoft says it's changing its strategy to focus on more high-end free-to-play games. I do have a small update from when this article was made. Ubisoft has told VGC that this does not mean less AAA games. Although, I mean, personally, this is me. I don't see how any of what they said doesn't mean that. But here we go. Ubisoft is looking to move from its 3 to 4 premium AAA per year titles to focus on more free-to-play titles moving forward. It seems like Ubisoft has seen the revenue from games such as Call of Duty Warzone and are looking to get a slice of that pie. Although this push seems like a death knell for AAA game titles such as Assassin's Creed or Splinter Cell, Ubisoft insists that this is a push for a more diverse catalog of style of games added to their releases. I will say right now, I personally don't buy it. I feel Ubisoft saw the revenue losses of like some of their games that are coming out. They probably didn't think Valhalla did as well compared to a game like Call of Duty, where like they're making bank, and said, well, people don't really want AAA, instead of realizing that their games are just, they haven't really felt AAA for a very long time. But what do you guys think?
I just want to. Sorry, go ahead.
Continue. No, you go ahead.
I was going to jump in and say, well, I don't think necessarily that they didn't think that Valhalla did well. It's just I think they want the part of Warzone that is continuously lucrative in terms of the seasonal aspect, the returning player base that comes in and buys the charms and buys the updates. Like Warzone, you have multiple options to buy things, right? You have weapon packs that which basically will unlock certain loadouts, if I'm not mistaken, and designs and like skins and stuff
It's
like
all
that.
it's all aesthetic. It's all aesthetic.
All
that you
aesthetic
get.
stuff, which is
yeah.
and then stuff you can unlock obviously in the game. But that's money that you pay. There's also the weekly or monthly, I'm sorry, or quarterly, whatever it ends up being, battle pass that has like the additional benefits. I think that is what they're like. They're clamoring on that. They keep trying to putting that into their single player games, and maybe that is the diminishing returns. And I'm wondering if that's why the focus is changing. That's what I want to at least bring up with that point that you brought up.
I mean it more. Think of it this way. I mean it more in the sense of like they see like they have to put a lot of time and effort, like at least 3 or 4 years into a AAA title, right?
Yeah.
And then you see a thing like Call of Duty Warzone, which is like an update every like 6 or 7 months, and then less overhead in terms of like a AAA title. So
it's hard to compare like an Assassin's Creed to Warzone for single player to a BR, right? Like what Mario was saying, you can't have that monetization to that kind of game, right? I would compare Assassin's Creed to like say another like a Cyberpunk, for example, was something I would compare it to, because it's the same kind of game. You buy it once and you get what you're gonna get out of it, right?
Yeah.
Maybe they could make like a BR that is, or like a BR-esque game for Assassin's Creed that could rival Warzone in a way and make it free to play and have like those things where you buy for real money. Like you could buy like cool daggers, outfits, all that kind of stuff, right? Like that, I feel like that is something that they could probably do. Or like, 50 Sam Fishers drop on an island and they have to like kill each other in very, secret ways and stuff like that. So like, it's something, I feel like something like that. I don't want Splinter Cell to come back that way. That would be terrible.
hope it doesn't. But I mean it in this. I mean the with the Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I mean in a way that you don't have to write a story. You don't have to create like this open world that has like these populated pieces in them. You don't have to write side stories. Like that's what Ubisoft's probably seeing is like, okay, Call of Duty's making more money than us, and we're putting more effort into our game to bring more people in. And they're probably seeing that and going, well, free to play is probably the model we should go to instead of spending all this time and effort on a AAA title.
So I feel like that they're going to take, So I feel like they're going to take one of their lucrative IPs and be like, how do we put this in that kind of a model?
Exactly.
Right?
Like, how do we not have the same amount of cost and time to make that game, but make it as lucrative as as like Call of Duty Warzone, for example? Because they specifically look at Warzone from what I saw. Yeah,
but the Call of Duty has this name thing to it, though, right? Like when you hear Call of Duty, you know what you're getting, and you know what's gonna be on the when you get that game or when you get Warzone and stuff like that, right? I feel like it has more of a more people know what Call of Duty, I feel, than Assassin's Creed. Which is weird to say because I know a lot of people love it, like mostly everybody. But I feel like when it comes to Call of Duty is probably one of the biggest IPs.
I think they're on a very similar level to the mainstream audience.
Yeah,
like,
I do agree with that. If
doesn't play video games, do you know what Call of Duty is? And do you know what Assassin's Creed is? They're probably gonna know both of those IPs.
Yeah. I just feel like Call of Duty is just a bigger name because of like how long it's been out for, how long it's been around, and the lineage of it, and like where it is right now. I really didn't think Call of Duty would even last this long, if I'm being completely honest. But
especially after Advanced Warfare.
Warfare, exactly. Yeah. But like I think they're still gonna release their AAA games every year, right? They're gonna have they're not every year, but like every couple of years. Right, they're gonna have like their Assassin's Creed and stuff like that. But I think they're gonna take one of their IPs and make it into like a free-to-play game.
I just think
it could be Far Cry or something.
I think you're gonna do Warzone, right? Is not Call of Duty. It's Warzone. It is Call of Duty, right? It's just in the same world and IP as Call of Duty. So you're gonna get your Call of Duty game, but you're also gonna get Warzone updated every day. So like you're gonna get your Assassin's Creed, probably the same useless large world that doesn't need to be large and collect the towers and do your assassinations and story. You're gonna still get that, but you might get, hey, you're in a city, but there's 100 assassins hidden around the world. You have to be the last one standing. Like maybe you'll get something like that where it's a spinoff of the thing. Like I think that will be like an example what would be interesting, like there's that game Skull and Bones that is supposed to come out, which is just like pirate, like realistic pirates, and it's still been delayed. I'm like, that's a perfect free to play the game because I don't want to buy that. So
You put that,
Nobody wants to buy that.
put that as like an open world kind of like battle royale esque
Open
kind
ocean.
of game right there. Open ocean, yeah, open ocean kind of game. I am
100
so
ships.
intrigued. I want to see.
100
I want to see
ships.
the reveal trailer for that, and I want to see what it looks like. I'm pretty sure it's going to be not at this E3. I think it'll be next E3. It's going to be in
it has
because it got
to be
delayed
done
again,
now.
right?
It has to be done. I have no
Isn't
idea.
there
how
already
it is.
gameplay?
No, there was
is.
there was an article. There was an article that I got delayed to 2022.
Jesus. I mean, I guess
So, like-
it could also be the game could be done, but they're delaying from a scheduling standpoint. 'cause,
Could be, but I want to see the first trailer for when they showed it to like what it is now and
No,
just
of
see the
course.
difference in that game. Oh man,
It's got to be a
that game.
PS5 in the game now or PS4. PS4.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean we're going to be hitting that threshold probably next year where every game that's coming out has to be either PS5. It has to be PS5. Like you can't do PS4 games
Xbox.
anymore.
Yeah.
Xbox is different. Xbox is going to go on every platform.
Xbox is in such a weird way.
Yeah, they're going
will
to do
say-
Xbox One for a while.
I will say I'm not a big Ubisoft fan. I like their IPs don't really appeal to me. I played Phoenix when that came out, but I could see. I know this is never gonna happen, but in my dream world, if there was one game that Ubisoft could sell me on, be a Ubisoft style free to play Tron game.
Do they have the Tron IP still?
No,
I don't know.
no, it would be Disney Interactive, wouldn't it?
Probably,
Yeah.
yeah,
Probably
because
Disney.
it's probably
But-
under Disney now.
Either way,
But
you
just
saying
imagine,
yeah, a Ubisoft
that
Tron
world.
game, sure, absolutely. Open.
I think that would
yeah.
be great.
Yeah, 100%. Screw Watch Dogs.
Yeah.
Watch Dogs is done. It's a dead meme. All right, we're moving on to Tron. Sell Tron. Sell Tron to Ubisoft.
I like how Watch Dogs has one bad game and everybody hates Watch Dogs now for some reason.
Did Watch Dogs have a bad game?
Yeah,
It
Legion.
had an average game,
Okay.
and everybody hated it.
I
I'm
mean,
just like,
both people didn't like one either, though, right?
One was fine. One was fine. One
Two
was
is
a
where
fine
people
game.
were like, okay, two's a really, really good game.
Two's a really good game.
But to be fair,
Yeah.
I just felt like the game just fits in such a market that is so saturated. So like, all right, if you're gonna make me choose, I'm probably gonna pick the other game before I play Watch Dogs. Like another Grand Theft Auto, yeah, of course I'm gonna play that. I can't even think of any other major like open city ones, but I honestly don't even think it's like an appealing thing anymore to be in the city. That's just me though.
Give me the open urban environment. Give me Truck Simulator.
South
Fuck
side
it.
of Chicago.
Hit me
Truck,
with your.
give me
hit
Truck
with your Ubisoft
Simulator.
thoughts.
Give me a Truck Simulator BR. That's what I want.
Yeah, Euro Truck Simulator BR.
Yeah.
I mean,
Farming
I'd be
Simulator
down.
BR. Who can survive the famine, the potato famine?
I mean, if you Truck
The
Simulator,
potato
you're delivering
famine.
potatoes in Russia. You're delivering potatoes in Russia. Let's go. You know,
AK's going wild.
AK, you gotta pass checkpoints and stuff like that. And like, if you
Is this
don't,
papers, please? Is this the
some-
weird fucking?
if you don't pass the checkpoint correctly, other people can take your load from you.
Oh, take
Like,
your
oh,
load.
shit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it a big load?
It's the only word I can think
Shut
of
up.
at that one
Shut up.
particular moment.
I mean, it's the correct word, and it would have been fine if he didn't make a face about it.
No, there's
Oh,
a
no.
reason for it.
There's a
There's a
reason why,
reason
because
for it.
I have an emote in my
load.
channel called the load.
Yeah,
I've seen.
hence why
Fee.
I'm making faces.
Sorry to derail you there. Give me your thoughts on this
Your hot
Ubisoft
Ubisoft
debacle.
thoughts.
That's my door. I'm gonna leave. No, I'm just joking. I could see them continuing with just having like maybe cutting down their AAA IPs down to like maybe release 2 a year, and then having one specific like Call of Duty Warzone. It might, like, honestly, with the way that people were like feeling mediocre about Watch Dogs, I could see it could be something that's actually in the Watch Dogs universe. That would be a lot of like espionage, kind of like hacking and trying to get through the city and doing like missions that way. I feel like I could definitely see that becoming, because right now there's Warzone, yes, there's a lot of these like shooters and stuff like that, but having something like a little bit more sneaky and then having to like hack into things and like you have to like process it and think how to deal with something rather than like, hey, I got a gun, I'm gonna run in. I know Warzone isn't specifically like that, but honestly, that's how I feel about it when I watch you guys play it, because it's honestly just not one of my games.
Till you get good at it.
I mean, until I get good at it, and then I will smoke all of you. I'm just
Damn right.
joking.
I believe
I think it makes sense because a lot of people are moving towards that and seeing things like Call of Duty do really well. And honestly, at this point, GTA is doing fantastic. You buy the game and then it's just like you consistently are able to play online. It's kind of a toss up. Like honestly, it could be just a matter of just trying to think of restructuring because like you said at the very beginning, a lot of their games don't have that AAA feel anymore. Almost to a point, and I've said this a few times, where it seems as though some of their games seem like they just take one game and then they've reskinned it multiple times. Because that's kind of the vibe that I've been getting from things like Assassin's Creed and the last few Assassin's Creed games. And we're seeing these games kind of just get to a moot stale point, and I think this might be them trying to reinvigorate their studios to like find something that might entice them or get them excited. Because yeah, they had Valhalla, they had Watch Dogs for what it was. But I think they're trying to find something to get motivated about. And I look forward to seeing what they might come up with. Because a lot of other actual groups are coming up with free-to-play games as well. Whether it's on PC, console, or even mobile at this point.
Here, I'm going to make a suggestion and then we can move on.
Yeah.
Because the reason that I bring it up is because Watch Dogs has a multiplayer that is very much what you just described, but no one knows about it, and nobody knows that these things exist. I got to play it early for DualShockers before they fired me, or I don't remember. It's hazy mad. But basically, I got to play it and it was fun, but it came out and nobody's playing it. So I think would be great is that if you're going to release your game, then release a companion game that is just the multiplayer of the game.
So like GTA.
Like what Resident Evil does.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
like
I
GTA,
mean-
or GTA or like Red Dead, right? Red Dead is, you want to play the story mode? You can buy that. The online is now separate for $5 or whatever. Like, why not? I would put investment in that. Like, if it might make me buy your $60 game. You know?
Yeah.
Especially if it's like a quick,
Make people excited.
press a button, boom, the game's just together. And then, hey, I think that's probably the way to go. Give me the transactions in the game and then we'll go from there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What do you guys think happened to Hyperscape?
Oh, that
I forgot
thing
you
died
existed
real
until I
freaking
read it in
quick.
the doc.
That was such a good game, man. It was so good.
Then
Was
play
it? 'Cause it
Let's play it.
You can play it, but we haven't heard of it for like a really long time.
Because I don't think the last time I played that kind of game was probably Quake from way back in the day. Because how fast it was and how fluid it was, but like it wasn't accessible to a lot of people. Because like if you play on a controller, you were gonna get bodied no matter what. I feel in that game, right?
Which is should happen. But
I mean, but it was just one of those games where I don't feel like I think they were just trying to chase something that they just couldn't get, and like you can't change that world. I guess they didn't update it fast enough either, and like there was just a lot of factors that kind of went with it and made it kind of die out really quickly.
Mhm.
Fair.
Yeah, I played one round of that game and I hated it.
Honestly, I didn't even
But,
know what you were talking about until I looked it up.
Yeah, Ubisoft's forgotten free-to-play game at this
I
point.
played that for like a good week straight. It was so much fun.
Let's play Apex. That's actually pretty good. The arena game is actually really cool.
I haven't done it yet. I haven't done the
You should try it. It's real fun.
yeah.
All right. But on that note, we're going to move on to our final article for this week, and that comes from IGN's Liam Wiseman. Valve facing a new lawsuit over Steam digital dominance. So, Wolfire Games CEO David Rosen revealed this week that he is leading a class action lawsuit antitrust lawsuit against Valve for their dominance over the digital market. Valve currently takes a 30% cut out of game sales from games being sold on their Steam marketplace. On top of that, Rosen has said that Valve also keeps developers from selling their games on markets with better revenue cuts by threatening to remove their game from the Steam marketplace. So what do we think, guys? With launchers being kind of like a dime a dozen nowadays, it's insane to think that Valve is kind of strong arming people into kind of staying within their ecosystem.
Oh, it sounds like another company I know.
Right? Apple. which is my next question here. But what do we think? What are our initial thoughts of just like, because we all use Steam here in some way, shape, or form. I
Yeah.
have thoughts as to why I think Steam has held a dominance, but I would definitely like to hear what you guys think.
Steam has definitely been dominant because, it's the biggest, it has the most games, it has the most developers. It's one of the most accessible designs, honestly. If you look at most game launchers on PC, they're usually not very, their UI is not very friendly. And it sucks that they have such a big, monopoly on this market that they can strong arm these developers into paying or taking that cut because it's, seen as kind of one of the only options. I don't know how true it is that they're threatening to remove other games and what the contracts with those games are if they can't be put on other platforms or whatever. But I don't know. Having more competitors always makes any industry better. And if this will give other platforms a chance to kind of rise up to, the epics of the world to battle Steam a little bit. Or, sorry. Is Epic
battling
Games
Apple
Launcher? No, it's their launch.
Epic,
their
yeah, the
game
Epic launcher. Yeah,
Yeah, Epic
Yeah.
Games Launcher.
yeah. I mean, in the same way you're saying, like there's a reduced cut on Epic. They stayed at this, for a while. That's why a lot of games are just exclusively there now, but are coming later
Yeah.
sometimes to other places.
They take 18%.
Yeah.
Instead of the 30%.
Which is-
Well, 30% is industry standard.
That
To be fair.
who created that standard?
It's got to be just like what they stopped on kind of type thing, right? Like it's just like one of those
And I
things where
wonder who was the first person that was like, "Hey, we're going to stop on 30," and it's probably, it's probably Valve. It's probably
it could have
Maybe.
been. It could have been. I don't know.
because not only
I think
that,
the
but also
30%
Microsoft has
may
gone
have
down
came
too.
from. I think the 30% may have came from like old school, like this is what like retailers will make, right? Like when they were selling like PC games and like these PS1 games and stuff like that. I don't know how that is, but it seems like it's always been 30% for people.
But
And then Valve's been around since like what 2001. Steam's been around.
but like this.
But if you look at 30% of a physical game versus the digital game, that's, a big difference in cost.
Yeah.
Harv?
the thing I want to know is that this is just exclusivity at this point, right? Like we're just talking about exclusivity now to Steam, which is what Epic's been doing for the last year of 2 years,
Mm-hmm.
maybe 3 years now. With
Well,
games,
yeah.
they've been just doing exclusivity with their platform.
It's that, but it's also the fact that, hey, if I can't put my game anywhere else, I mean, right? So it's like, sure, I'll do 30 here on Steam, but I'm going to make, like you said, 18 on Epic. I can't do that because you're telling me that you're going to deplatform me there, which, granted, if I remember correctly, everyone fucking hated Steam when it first launched because it was the only way you could play Half-Life 2. Like, the only way you could play Half-Life 2 is because you were forced upon it, in which, by the way, history repeated itself with Epic.
That was just about to say
That's
exactly.
what I'm saying. Like, but at the same time, at the very least, I feel like they probably have. Well, they're still learning because they still have a lot of fucking features that Steam has. But at the same time, at least offering something more incentivizing the developers. But yeah, I don't know.
And they have great free games every month too.
Yeah, dude, that's like a lot of money. 17 billion is what I heard, something like that. Not billion,
Yeah.
sorry. Something must be. Something was high.
It
a
was
high-ass
like
number.
they have a lot. So it's just like this whole exclusivity. I guess I don't know if this is like a timed exclusivity because that's what Epic does. They do timed exclusivity to their games. So it's like usually 1 year and then it goes everywhere else like Steam. But like if this is if this is timed where they take 30% and they get threatened to move, then it's the same thing what Epic's doing. But if this is like this is full on like they're only allowed on Steam no matter what, then yeah, that's kind of stupid. Then that's stupid. Because like you want your game on every platform you could possibly think of. Doesn't matter how big or small the platform is.
Yeah.
And Steam takes 30% as long as you don't sell over 1 million copies, I think, right?
Yeah,
Of a
there's
game?
actually like a target, like a certain target.
there's a target.
Then they only take 18.
Yeah, because obviously, like developers like Capcom and stuff like that, they can put their game wherever they want to.
Which
And-
is really like I feel like that's like just so anti like indie development. Like it's just
I agree with that. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely
like
anti-indie.
it should probably go the opposite in my
I
opinion.
hate to say it, but that's the point.
Yeah, I know it is. It 100% is because like yeah, it 100% is. I just feel like it should be the complete opposite. Like
It
once you
should
hit a
be,
million,
but it's not
Yeah.
because we live in a capitalist society.
yeah.
We live in a society.
Unfortunately.
Fee will tell
Fee?
us about capitalist societies later. I'm very excited about that, or not, or some
Mhm.
societies in general. But yeah,
Yes, that is what we do in Canada.
man,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yes.
Sucks all around. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
Yeah. My last question for this, and then we can move on to oh wow, there's a lot of stuff here. Do we think companies are willing to speak up about all the stuff behind the scenes now that the whole Apple versus Epic case is kind of going on?
Absolutely.
I hope so.
You know, yeah, like I'm sure there's a lot of people who have been wanting to speak up and was just afraid of the backlash. And so, you know, now that this is more commonplace and more out in the open, I think it'll definitely open the doors for more people to speak out about these kinds of instances, which is great. You know, I would rather see more of the industry than less.
Yeah,
I agree.
I agree.
Yeah, I'm hoping that more companies come out to say stuff about this kind of thing and it changes. My honest opinion, it's not going to, but
It's probably not
Yeah,
going to.
it's not. I don't think it's going to, but
The only time I've heard
Until
about
somebody
it
makes
was on
a-
the eShop.
Oh, so on the eShop.
Yeah, I heard developers complain about the eShop specifically and their cut and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
probably,
until somebody
it's
really
probably some
creates, like, a
Nintendo
good
thing. They're like, we want to take 50% of your cut.
Yeah, I feel like until somebody creates like an actual like competitor to Steam, because Epic is close, but Epic doesn't have like all the features to kind of make it a successor at all. But until somebody creates a successor, Steam's probably going to keep doing this.
Yeah, but like you look at Steam. How long has Steam been out for? A long time,
At
right?
least
You guys were
since
saying like 2001,
about,
right?
20 years.
Maybe even,
Yeah.
maybe even before that.
Like those features, they slowly they gradually put that shit into the game or into the launcher and into like the platform.
Oh yeah.
I feel like in about 5 years, Epic is probably going to be there where Steam is in like 5 to 6 years, maybe, depending on how fast they go.